All right, it is 4 o'clock, so let's call the November 22nd Architecture Review Board meeting to order. Steve, if you please call the roll.
Sure. Joe Clark,
Present.
Alderperson Savaglio,
Present.
Jerry Jones,
Here.
Richard Lindy,
Here.
Dave Aldig,
Here.
and Pam Langen and Robert Heimerold indicated they would not be able to attend today.
All right, thank you. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any conflicts of interest for board members with today's items? Hearing none, we'll move to item 2.1, approval of the minutes from November 8th.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Thank you. Item 3.1 is the proposed exterior remodel for Hobby Lobby at 518 South Taylor Drive. And I believe the applicant is on the phone. Is that correct?
Jason, are you out there?
Yes, I am here.
Very good.
Jason, if you could introduce your team and give us a brief introduction of what's being presented. We do have images here we can bring up if you want to refer to things. But if you can just give a short introduction on the project, that would be appreciated.
Yes, my name is Jason Soul. I'm with SJ Design Group. I'm the project manager for this project. And our client is Hobby Lobby, and they're looking at taking over the existing Shopco building there in Sheboygan. And essentially the existing space is going to be demised into two separate tenants, one of which is going to be done by the landlord. That conditional use permit is going to be applied by them. We're essentially just doing a TI for this. So what we're proposing or submitting the documents for approval is going to be for the Hobby Lobby portion only.
All right, thank you.
Yep. I wonder, Jason, if you want to just kind of go through your drawing.
Sure. I'm not sure really which one you want to start with, but we can talk about the front of the building. Exterior wise, we are not changing a whole lot. If you look on the elevation picture there, the two former entries, which are on the left, you see them as being kind of that darker. That's one area, and the one just to the right of that. Those two areas were the former entries, storefront, and sliders. We are going to be removing those former entries, and we're going to be infilling with materials to match the existing building. So we'll look basically the same.
If I could interrupt, Jason, there are insets there currently.
That is correct.
Is the new block brought to the same plane as the wall, or is it to the setback where the entry storefront is now?
It is still set back. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And staff had a question with this elevation on the right side of the Hobby Lobby sign portion of the elevation. There's a darker band just to the right of that. We wanted to make sure that's just a shadow line rather than a darker paint color.
Yes. So due to the proposed floor plan, the Hobby Lobby wanted to go with, which best suits their functional needs. That was why we were infilling those former entries. On the right-hand side, we actually are going to be punching in a new opening in the masonry wall, and convert that into their new vestibule. That part of the building actually steps out away from the main building wall. So what you're seeing on the right-hand side is a shadow line.
Great, thanks for confirming.
So regarding the main entry, it's just you see there's all their storefronts. We're keeping the masonry there. Typically, High Lobby's granite buildings are tilt wall construction, but to adhere to their brand standards, they have these horizontal bands, which you'll see above and below the High Lobby signage, rather than the best way of trying to retrofit this existing building to meet their brand standards. The horizontal bands will be painted CMU to kind of mimic their branding. In essence, we were trying to blend this job with trying to keep the same architectural aesthetics going on, and also be a good blend of what Hobby Lobby's branding is, which is the signage of the colors, and with the horizontal banding, the what you see there.
How about the Rooftop Mechanicals? I think you'd mentioned those in the description, but don't see them on the elevation to tell where exactly those would be.
Yeah, so in the rendering that's provided, that is not a line of sight study. That is definitely something that I can look into post this meeting, but all the RTUs on this project are new.
Great, so if that is something that typically, we require the screening on those, and if you can submit drawings as part of, assuming we get approval on this today, that would be something that would need to come back to staff before it got the final approvals.
Okay.
Anything else from the board?
Were you okay with the colors being a little bit different on that infill area, or did you want those colors are different, right, Jason?
Yes, those colors are different. That's actually a simple change. Hobby Lobby, they proposed to make them a different color, just to kind of try and break up that monotonous of it being just one color.
I understand your reservation, Steve. I think looking at the existing building and the recesses that are there, the separate color
Makes sense.
could be nice and help break up that facade.
Sounds good.
I'm not sure how well the colors are reading in our elevation views on the screens. Do we have actual color submittals from the applicant at this point, Steve?
No.
So that would be another thing that we would need to see.
Oh, I shouldn't say that, Jason. What? I don't have an actual submittal, but I think the specific color was called out as far as a Sherman-Williams. Is this correct for the infill areas, the 7505 Stone Lion? I can't remember if that was on drawing.
Let me look real quick.
Yeah, it's a Stone Lion. I don't know if I can pull that up if you want.
Yes, that inset color is intended to be Stone Lion. On the rendering, we do list the Sherwin-Williams paint color code, but in terms of an actual color board and like that, since we were just doing paint of existing materials, that was why I did not submit any kind of color board or anything like that.
Okay, and the existing CMU that's remaining, that's the same paint that's there now staying?
Yeah, we're only indicating areas to be painted. If there's not a note on there that's specifying that the color is being painted, then it's supposed to be, then the intent is for it to be the existing material. So when you see the note that says existing CMU to remain, and the existing, like the wainscot color, all that is not to be painted. So the only thing we're changing there is at the vestibule area itself, and those two infill areas will have different paint. Other than that, we're not touching any other exterior colors.
Is the one thing that's difficult for us then to judge is how well the new paint colors work with the old ones without having samples. I assume you guys have something matched to the existing paint color and are feeling that the proposed paint colors are pretty good?
I mean, I can provide some better color samples, I guess, post this call, if that's what you all would like to see. In terms of the paint color for the new infill materials, on our documents, we are providing a note for the contractor to kind of put it on him to find a color match.
Okay.
The existing information we have doesn't really tell us what the existing color is. We can go off of photos and make an estimated guess, but seeing it in person is a little different, as I'm sure you all know.
I guess
The intent is that like the wainscot material would be a color to match what's there.
Okay. Marcus,
Thank you very much. Steve, can you go to page 12 for me? Because I'm having trouble understanding exactly what's happening here. The
pull your mic.
the gentleman who's on the call with us, I'm sorry I did not catch your name earlier. Can you confirm for me, or better explain this? I'm looking on this, the picture of the current Shopko building. It sounds to me like you were describing that there is the darker yellow that seems to be like the arches, and then there is a lighter yellow that's the same color as where Shopko is now, the logo. And you're gonna just match that color above the current doors with new bricks so that it's all the same color, and you're gonna leave that kind of like darker yellow to remain? Is that correct, or am I misunderstanding?
So where the glass is in that existing photograph, that's going to be removed, and in that same plane, we're going to go in with new materials. So to be CMU, a seal, and the a split face veneer, and the wainscot, the water table, whatever you want to call it, and then those colors will match. Now the inset, that's the darker shade of brown, that would be the new paint color, but everything else will match existing.
So where the glass is now is going to be a new material, and that is going to be painted a different color than what's right above it currently.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
I'd love to know what color it is.
I would recommend that any sort of approval we give would be contingent on getting samples so that we can see how those actually all go together and match the existing before it gets the final approval from the city. Other thoughts or comments from anyone?
That's what he's asking
Yeah.
for.
So I'd make a motion then that we approve this, subject to the submittal of the color board. Is that what it's called, or the materials board? And then, and any other staff, the rooftop units
units.
need to be addressed. Were there any other things that need to be addressed by staff?
Those were the two I had noted.
And then the color board needs to come back to us?
Yes.
Yes. Do we got that for the notes? Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is everyone clear on that? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Jason, did those requirements make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Okay.
Steve?
And you can always give me a buzz tomorrow too, Jason, and we can talk a little bit through that as well.
Okay. That's good.
But great to see this building getting put to a good use, so good luck with the project, Jason.
Yeah, so far this whole process has been very well. Y'all have all been really, really accommodating, especially Steve. And I know on behalf of the Hobby Lobby, they're very excited to go into this space.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And are you also addressing our item 3.2 for the Ross Dress for Less? Steve's shaking his head no.
Nope,
that-
someone else on there for it.
All right.
All right, Jason, thanks a lot.
Okay, do I need to step off of here, or can I stay on, or what?
You're welcome to do either. If you'd like to stick around to see the festivities, you can.
Yep.
But you can certainly sign off if you'd rather.
Okay, I'll probably will hang around to hear what you have to say on the remaining part of the building, just in case if anything applies to me. And then I'll probably will sign off.
Great, that sounds good. Thank you. So then it
Okay,
sounds
thanks.
as if we have a different applicant for item 3.2, the proposed remodeling for Ross Dress for Less at the same building.
Corey, are you out there?
I am, yes.
All right.
Steve?
Yeah, hi, Corey. Corey Presnick is from Quarter Development, who will be presenting the item 3.2, which is the Ross Dress for Less on the north side of this building.
Perfect, thank you very much. So Corey, if you could likewise introduce anyone else who's attending from your end, from your project team, and then give us a brief overview of the proposed project.
Sure, absolutely, yes. So my name's Corey Presnick from Corda Development. We're developer pulling the project together, and I echo the sentiments from Jason. It's been a great process, so really appreciate all the staff's help and accommodations. And with me, my partner Tad Templeton's on the call as well, and our architect and general contractor for the project is Keller Inc. and Ben Anderson, who generated the drawing that we will be walking through. And Ben's the expert here. I'm just, obviously I can here to answer any questions, but if there's any technical, architectural, elemental questions, then Ben can handle that. So I'll just kind of give sort of an overview of what the intent here is, and I'll let Ben dive into the details and and bring his expertise into the fold. But effectively, we've talked about the tenant, Ross Dress for Less. They've got a very specific, somewhat similar to Hobby Lobby in terms of the look that they want to have across the board based on their brand image and their brand identity. And so they largely drive this the requirements here. They've got a significant facade element. Their colors are standard across, whether it's in your region of Wisconsin or California or Florida. It's a brand that's recognized across the country. So, they've got a very prototypical set of drawings that Ben used to generate this. There's a couple elements the existing site posed to us in terms of architecture. There's a grade change from north to south that was a bit of a challenge we needed to address just to get the grades accurate. And Excel Engineering assisted Ben with that and just figuring out how to, we've got a small knee wall type element that Ben can talk about more. And then you've got, obviously this is an end cap that's facing the Meyer project to the north. And so there's that existing element. We've got signage on that side. There's tree landscaping existing that helps break that up. But effectively, the goal here was to generate a best-in-class, first-class retail storefront. And there is a significant bump out and raising the height of the existing structure to, raising the height of the existing facade to, provide the signage that Ross would like to have. And I think it'll be a really great addition to that retail corridor. So with that, I don't know if Tad has any comments, but like Ben can kind of provide maybe a few of his, the details that he may want to add, and then we'll happy to answer any questions.
I think you covered it pretty well, Corey. So I guess let's just open it up to questions.
So I think you answered my first one, which is that the large entry piece, so it's real tall there, is intended for signage?
Yes, and so at the time, some of the retailers can be quite direct about what type of information is going out to the public and whatnot. So at the time of submittal, we were not looking at, but there is prototypical signage that you would see at this retailer across the country. So yes, that'll be large, whatever the code compliant signage is, will fill that band for sure.
And was that the intent for around the side on Erie Avenue, that little parapet piece that's projecting up on the Erie Avenue side?
Yes, correct. Yes, that they obviously, being part of this retail corridor and the Meyer and Kohl's and whatnot over there is important to them. So the intent was really to try to match and be complementary to that project. And the customer, the retail customer, is going to want to back and forth in between. So that signage certainly feel it's helpful and beneficial to our project.
All right, and then colors and painting, obviously the new entry addition's getting new paint, but the rest of the existing facade, is that getting painted, or is that similar to Hobby Lobby, that it's just staying existing?
I'll leave that to Ben. I believe it's all new paint, but Ben, can you tell the specs?
Yeah, so the whole front where you saw the facade and the new entry, that's getting all new paint per Ross's requirements, and those I believe are highlighted on that plan. There's a key there. Each color is called out with a letter, and then to the bottom where you have your cursor, each color is called out there. As you move along to Erie Avenue, along that side, we will be covering that side of the building with their color specs up to a certain point, and you'll see that transition where the color stops on the elevation, because at that point I believe it's a different space. It's either unoccupied space or storage in that area, and then from that point it'll continue to match what the existing Shopko building is. So that part will not change.
All right, and that actually leads into my other big question, which is how that third tenant is actually planned to work. They seem to be sort of stuck in the back of the building with potential entry by the receiving area. Or was there going to be access through the Ross Dress for Less? What was intended there?
Right. So in a lot of these redevelopments, the depth of the building is such that there oftentimes is, unfortunately, unused space. Ross can only be so deep to fit their prototype and what works for them. And so, really, we don't intend at this time for this to be an occupied space. There's a potential possibly to have some sort of flex or alternate type space, but certainly that's not driving the project. And that would be a bonus to the community and to all of us. You pointed out and alluded to, you've got a lot of service going on in that area. It's not really street facing. There's a lot of utilities in that area. And so we're hopeful that maybe there's an alternate type of use that may be able to fit there. But at this time, that's effectively, I think we call it in the decommissioned space. If we were building this Hobby Lobby and Ross ground up, that space would not be there, put it that way. And we're just not sure it's functional to your point, to your allusion, I think. So.
Okay. I guess then leaving that portion of the facade unpainted to just existing rather than matching seems like a disconnect. We've got a corner of the building that's just kind of being left behind. It would be nice to see that portion of that facade and probably wrapping the corner where it's visible from Erie getting painted to blend in rather than look like a forgotten area. Would that be a possibility?
Yes, we can work on that just to make it presentable. Yeah, you'll have all new parking lot back there, and there will be. But yes, we can work on painting that just to make it consistent with the rest of the building. that's fair.
Great, so that would be the north and west elevations. Perfect. And then I know staff had a question about the blue stripes, whether that's a branding requirement, since they are so different from the existing colors and the new brown shades that are going in.
Sure, yeah, and without the benefit of having the signage and the brand of the retailer Ross, certainly it looks a little unusual without that. But once you see that signage and you can sort of put it in context to what I'm sure most of us has seen a Ross in another community, that's the driver. That's their brand identity, is that blue color. So. I think I did send to Steve. It was probably too late to inject into the materials here, but what that signage would look like. That really would bring, because the sign itself also brings in that blue element.
Yeah,
So it all looks matching to their brand throughout the country.
okay. I think similar to the Hobby Lobby proposal, having an actual materials board or samples of the colors that we can see, just to make sure that those all appear to work nicely together. I assume you've figured that out from your end, but it would be nice for us to see that before final approvals are given. And then the last thing on my list was the retaining wall and that access to, what would that be, the northeast corner of the building. Not seeing much in the way of details for that. Is there more information you can tell us on that, or is that something that we might want to see additional drawings, again, for staff review?
Ben, does elevation pick that up? Because I believe for the plan board tomorrow, do we have one that shows that knee wall?
Yeah, if you look at the 3D renderings, you can see it on those two drawings better than on the elevation. So
Which drawing?
if you go to the 3D renderings, if you could please. Should be at the top of that page. Oh. It should be at the top of the page with the elevations you're on, please.
Page 7.
Yeah, right there. So if you slide to the other view, right there, you can see that knee wall there, and that's just to accommodate the slope of traffic coming off of Erie. And those materials there would be painted to match the colors of the Ross facade. So whether it ends up being the lighter color or that darker brown color, one of those two. I'm not sure. It's hard to see, and my screen's so small here. I don't remember what color it was called out as, or if it has the color called out, but that's the plan, is to make it match.
I'm just trying to get back to the sheet. I'm not sure the elevation is showing those conditions.
The 2D elevations might not.
Yeah, I think it looks as if maybe the cut is back behind that retaining wall. So we're down at the
Correct.
entry sidewalk level.
Correct.
And I don't imagine that's going to be a problem, but we would like to know what those materials are and how that
Ties in.
actually integrates with the building. And then the other thing from my end would be rooftop units, just clarification on those. I'm assuming with that huge facade addition, everything's going to be hidden from the front. But sight lines from the side, which direction is that? North. I guess from the north over on the adjacent parking lots, you're going to be seeing quite a bit of that roof line. So just making sure the rooftops are screened up there. I've been monopolizing things. Anything else from the board?
Right, and my connection's a little poor, but if you can't hear me, but,
Sorry, go ahead, Corey.
sorry about that, yeah, my connection. But yeah, there'll be no rooftops visible. I mean, we'll ensure that they're placed such that there's no from sight line up to that. And I think that, Jason will prove that out on the Hobby Lobby side as well. The retailers don't want to see that either. It's just not a good customer facing item. So yeah, you will not be able to see any units from the street.
Great. Anything else from our end, board? Chad?
Corey, this is Chad Pelishek. Can you confirm that there's trees on that north side of the elevation and that those trees are fairly large and they're going to stay in place?
Yes, and we can prune and make those look nice. But I think we think it's a great element from a landscaping perspective to break things up. So yeah, those trees will remain.
So that should help with some of that screening. Not to say that it's going to do all of it, but it definitely breaks up the facade by having mature trees.
Indeed. Yeah, no, if those trees weren't there, I think we would be having a different conversation of how we break up, because we share your angst on having these large spans. But the trees are nice, and if we can continue to paint around, and I think it'll look great.
Sounds as if we would be at a point to entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve subject to staff recommendations and also submittal of the color scheme to the board.
Second. Great, we have a motion in 2 seconds. Yes. Any further discussion? And those staff comments, just to summarize those, we were talking about painting along the north and potentially west walls, possibly pruning the trees to the north, information on a color board, that if we can see something with signage, that would be great. And then the rooftop screening.
And the retaining wall.
Thank you, Steve. And the retaining wall, information for what those materials and colors are tied into the building. Is everyone clear on those?
Yes.
If there is no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Looking forward to seeing that one moving forward too. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Item 3.2 is the construction of a new convenience store and service station at the southeast corner of South 26th Street and Superior Avenue. Had been previously submitted, and there is a proposed revision package. If you could come to the podium so we can record you for the community members who might be watching. If you can.
That's good.
That works.
That will be great. We also have the images that we can bring up on the screens if we need them. I don't know if the city's cameras will pick up the board.
Yeah, he'll get that.
Is that good there? Or?
Yeah.
All right. So if you could introduce yourself. and
Okay,
give us a
yes. Good
summary of what's
evening.
being proposed.
Jeff Peterson's my name with CR Structures. We're a general contractor on the project. We're partnering up with Dave Acciari on a new C-store. We proposed this back in February-ish. And as we got going on the project, some more detail, we got our civil people involved in it. We were determined that we had to move the stormwater plan, different part of the location on the land, and to make it feasible and cost effective. So we moved the stormwater plan over, so that entitled us to move the building, which used to be facing on the bottom. We moved it over to the east side of the land, facing west now. And it allowed us to put the stormwater closer to the road where it connects over right there where your mouse is, yes, in that two areas. When we originally did the plan, we were going back and forth where to put the building to begin with, but once we've determined the stormwater part, that's why it was moved over to this location. Size of the building stayed pretty much the same, 3,200 square feet. In that 3,200 square feet is a small restaurant, 1,000 square feet approximately, a little restaurant. Has no more of a grab-and-go restaurant. It's not gonna be eat-in restaurant, kind of just grab and go. Kind of like a quick trip, I guess, for better terms. For you, we're able to put a color drawing together for the west front, what the front looks like. And we have some black and white, is why I brought some samples along to kind of share with you our color scheme. Color scheme we have put together is black, and 3 different types of gray, and some BP green. We're able to hook up with BP as a partner on this project, so all the greens will be related to all the BP stations, United States wide, their color schemes. So will be a metallic green running through it, as well as a BP logo in the front of the building. The gray scheme is something we thought looks very nice. We went with some EFIS on there, some smooth EFIS for you. Again, that's all up front on the board for you. We also have hardy boards on there as well. Glass, metallic for you. What am I forgetting? Dumpster would be enclosed, obviously, with some masonry brick, masonry brick on the bottom as well of the building, and a dumpster would be enclosed as well out masonry brick. All the RTUs on the top would be screened in as well to match the building. I guess on that, I can open up a little bit of questions or more detail you guys would like.
Great, thanks, Jeff. My first question was on that smooth EFIS band. Design-wise, I like the way you've got it wrapping in and down. I was just curious what's happening when it comes to the wainscot of the stone material, and that's breaking that plane of stone, and whether that's a good place to be having EFIS.
When we put it together, we thought it was a very good place to tie. It'll tie in very nicely right there with, we talked about with masonry and EFIS comes together right on the, I don't know,
I guess the question where the EFIS runs all the way down to grade. That's the stone portion, and then just to the left of that, the darker EFIS above runs down.
Yes, it'll all tie in nicely with the next grades. You have grades over here, tie in with brick. I wasn't able today's day with COVID, hard to get samples these days, anything, but they'll show you darker black, gray masonry down there, similar to this right here.
So the planes of those materials, that EFIS where it runs down, if you, the vertical leg of the EFIS where, right
Yep,
there.
yep.
Yeah, to your right just a little bit, and where it drops down,
Nope.
the EFIS, the dark one, that guy, where it runs down and breaks the plane of the wainscot.
Yes, what'll happen there is they'll have it tied in so that you have the, right, they'll have the little area so like ties, better terms, just to tie it all together.
Do you
But
think,
the
Joe,
depths-
that should be all stone there instead of going down, or what's the thought kind of there from a transition? I guess that's the question that's being posed, but
I could
whether
be
or not it makes
persuaded
sense.
either way from a design standpoint. I like the break, it's interesting. But
Yeah.
from a durability and maintenance standpoint, whether the EFIS in that location makes sense, or if it's gonna get kicked and beat up and snow shovels gouging into it.
Because you park right in front.
that-
Oh, I see, I didn't even notice it in the picture, okay. Yeah, you can very,
So it's just this
It's
parcel
that
right
one and
here,
then there's-
right over
I had-
here.
There's a matching
I got
piece
old
on
eyes,
the-
I blew up on my phone here, I can see it
Yeah.
better now.
There's a
Yeah,
matching
right?
piece
No
on the
problem.
north elevation as well. I don't think they're the same sidewalk concerns there.
No. So you can very easily, our architect put it together that way, could very easily, he liked the look of it better going all the way down, we could very easily run the brick all the way across if that's a preferred.
So I like the look of it cutting through. And that was part of the question with the depths of those materials. If that's all set
Stone.
back from the stone quite a way, maybe that's okay. Was just what your thoughts
Right.
were and concerns
Okay.
from our end, and just what's the best way to address it.
Right. We just really personally just thought we liked the look of it, having it black go all the way down instead of stopping it right there. We've done other buildings like that in the past. We're doing one similar to this in Watoma with BP, and that's kind of the look we went with there, and it turned out very nicely.
Thoughts from the rest of the board on that? You comfortable with it running down to grade?
Again, it's just a preference, really, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
and I agree. I think the only functional thing was, is it gonna get hammered by either cars or snow blowers or shovels or whatever? But if it's set back even a little, it'll help it out.
Yeah.
The look is good.
Okay, good. The other question I had was just on the signage location. You've got it on the west facade of the tower where it's not going to be visible to traffic heading westward on Superior. Didn't know if you were also anticipating signage wrapped around the corner on that north elevation?
We were not actually thinking about which side is around the corner, but now you bring that up, that's actually a very good point. I think we'd want to put that, we'd want to add this to the drawing, have signage around the corner. So on Superior, they could see it very easily as well. I think that was probably just missed by architect when we flipped the building.
And then that would just be a signage
Yeah,
permit
and
question, whether you
one of
can
the
have
things-
multiple signs.
Yeah, one of the things that we haven't like completely ironed out yet is they are looking at probably a monument type sign. So maybe to pick up some of that east-west traffic on Superior, probably closer to the intersection of Superior and 26th in that
Right,
approximate area.
15 feet away. And
Yeah.
And then I think my last item, and I'll let other folks have a shot at things. The gas pump canopy, is that part of the submittal or that's something that would be forthcoming?
it'd be forthcoming. We'll partner up with US Oil and BP. They'll submit that themselves, and we'll work together on the construction part hand in hand with them, but they would actually construct it themselves.
The previous submittal had the nice stone wraps on the column.
This is planning as well.
Perfect, yeah. The rendering just had the steel columns, but then there were cut sheets that had it both ways, so.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, if we can nudge you towards the stone wrap. that would
Absolutely, we
really
like
be
that
good.
as well from last one.
Super. Right, other folks, I'm gonna sit
Say,
back.
US Oil has a new person there too, so he's, Steve, I'm trying to get with him with Steve to get everything going.
Yeah.
Nothing for me.
No questions? Apologize for that.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Marcus, Dick, anything from
Nothing
your
worse than
end?
having to have eye contact, right?
Any questions?
No,
No?
it looks okay.
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to staff recommendations and the canopy coming in separately.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? The proposal is approved. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Look forward to it.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
All right, and we are scheduled for December 13th. Does that look like it's happening,
It's
Steve?
possible. So if that, it doesn't, I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
All right, anything else from the board to discuss today? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.